Let's talk about your reflective practice, because as a leader, you need one. And I'm going to tell you why. Hi, I'm Angelika. I'm a leadership coach helping you be the leader you know you can be. Why do you need a reflective practice? Leadership, like parenting and being an entrepreneur, is one of those huge, big 3 personal development programs that you can book in life. But it leads to personal development because if you want to do it right, your leadership, if you want to be a good leader, the leader you know you can be, you will have to reflect and learn and try different things, and you will have to adapt your own style of behavior and perspective in order to get it right again and again. And that is what leads to personal development. So one part of that personal development is to figure out, are you on the right track? Are you getting to where you want to go? Whether that's your personal career goals or whether it's your goals that you have for your team or for your department. So you set out on your path. You've got your plan, you've got your strategy, you go and do whatever you had in mind in order to move your team from A to Z. The question is it working? And depending on what your natural preference is, whether you're very reflective by nature, whether you have certain check-ins with yourself, or whether you're very data-driven, where you have certain check-ins with the data that you're getting in terms of results from your teams. If you do that naturally, use those as reflection points in order to adjust your course. Standard natural management practice. Let's take this a bit deeper, because it's not just the data regarding the business results or the processes, how smoothly they go. You also want to look at how is your team collaborating? What is the mood in the team? And by the way, how do you feel? Are you happy with how things are going? Are you very clear on what you're going for? Are you very clear on your targets with your team, for yourself? Are you very clear about your role? You need that reflective practice in order to have a check-in with yourself. You can, of course, live without that. And you may do that all unconsciously, naturally, perfectly fine. If you're like the majority of my clients, and if you're like the majority of human beings, you will not do that naturally, because especially as a high achiever, driven, engaged leader, you will be so busy with running forward that you may neglect to sit still and have this check-in with yourself. You need that moment in time to check in with what's the current situation, and then course correct and set a new course for your personal behavior, for your attitude, for your mindset, or for some new guidelines for your team. So how do you do this? Your reflective practice may look very different from mine. When I say reflective practice, probably most of you are thinking about sitting still and taking your thoughts inward and maybe journaling and writing. Maybe just sitting still and thinking. This works for many people, but it is not the only way you can do a reflective practice. I know people who go for a run to process what's going on, and they come back not just with a clear mind, but also with a new conclusion or a new decision. So if you're a runner, you probably know this already about you. If you are a going for a walk type of person, you might need to take an extra walk or take your leadership reflections on a walk with you. If you journal already, then include your reflections about your leadership and your team in your journaling practice. You may want to take an extra journal or an extra notebook for that in order to not mix it with your personal reflections about family life and other stuff. But depends on how you want to treat this. But if you already journal and it helps you to process what's going on and also to set a new course for yourself, then by all means use that tool that already works for you. Some other people need a different activity. Like someone in my family is going to actually repair something physically because it takes the mind out of the ruminating, and they've got something to do with their hands, which kind of keeps the mind on the surface busy with what's going on. But in the background, their unconscious or subconscious is processing what's going on. Reflecting does not necessarily mean you have to do a conscious, active, intentional reflection exercise. You can, of course. But you can also just make sure that you provide your brain some surface level distraction and allow it to actually process things in the background. Yet another way of doing a reflective practice is talking things over. A lot of people will need some kind of sparring or even just a container of, can I just share this with you? Can I just speak it out loud? Because speaking about it helps me process what I'm thinking. If you're extrovert, you may relate to that. If that is your process, then obviously you can do that with a good friend. You can do it with a mentor, with a coach, and you can also do that with a trusted colleague or your boss. Though the latter might have more of a target-oriented aspect to it. For your pure personal reflection about what's going on, I don't necessarily recommend to have that conversation with your boss, but rather find someone who's a trusted confidant and who can just hold space for you. Don't think badly about yourself if you feel like, oh, I need somebody. No, it is part of your brain's process to talk things over, to help you clarify and sort things. So respect that and give your brain that space. If you don't have someone to talk about it, then you can use video, you can use voice recording, and we've got so many apps these days, and you can actually just use that process of bringing out your own voice and formulating your thoughts and listen back to it. So as you can see, there's a multitude of different ways you can have a reflective practice. You need to find what works for you and what helps you best, because the reflective practice shall actually provide you with a check-in with yourself. How do you feel? It should give you a moment in time to just put down a status. Just look at what's what. What's the current state of affairs? This is how I feel. This is what happened. This is what I think. This is what's on my mind. You need to process that. Where are you now? And then your system. And when I talk about your system, I mean your mind, your emotions, and the rest of you as a person needs to make sense of what just happened or what the current state of affairs is. And once you have that digested, then you can draw conclusions either from your notes or from your thoughts or from your revelations. And then you can set a new course forward, whether that is a new target, a new goal, or whether it's just a different way of approaching a certain goal that you still have. So like, these 3 ways of talking to my team member didn't work. Let me try that. The danger when you don't have a reflective practice is that you keep running around in your hamster wheel trying to accomplish that goal, that outcome that you're aiming for, and you may overlook the fact that some of your thoughts, your patterns of thought, your own emotions or your own attitude or your personal behavior in the context of your team, a client, or other stakeholders is not contributing to you actually achieving that goal. And that's what the reflective practice will help you achieve. At least it will give you some pointers. What makes it a practice then? A practice comes when you do it on a regular basis. And when I say regular, I don't mean it has to happen on a certain schedule. I think we often get that wrong. Regular means that you know this about yourself. You know your process. You know what helps you to actually do a reflection. You know when you need a reflection, and that you actually do it whenever you need it. That is what makes it a regular practice. I'm not here to tell you that you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day to do XYZ. You choose that. But I am here to tell you, you need your reflective practice. You need to understand your own process. You need to understand what is the tool or the setting that helps me, whether that is the walk in the forest, or whether you need to go to your garage and do some repairing, or whether you need to pick up your journal and write. You need to understand your process and your tools, and you need to understand your own markers. If you thrive on certain routines like a weekly review or a monthly review, then by all means include it in that. But if you're more a situation by situation person, then find the markers that tell you, that went so strange. I think I need to sit down and journal, or I think I need to talk to this person that I trust in order to process what happened. So find your process, find your tools, and establish your practice. If you need some help with that, let me know, and happy leading. See you soon. Bye.